We're gonna break into our baby back ribs and get these ready to go for our next recipe. So we got 3 sides of baby backs. These are handy dandy meat cutters. Get our packaging open, nice and sharp. As you can see, it's easy. Again, using our rib prep tool, take off the membrane, easily slide it underneath the membrane. Just kind of ease it in there. Once you get a nice bite on it, just kind of ease it up on one end and pull to the other side. There we go. Now we got the membrane removed. Just like before, we're gonna move right into seasoning. Sounds silly, but today on this particular recipe that we're gonna be doing, we're gonna be utilizing the Bold Burger Rub for these ribs. Buttery, salt, pepper, just what we're looking for this application. Give that a flip. So as you can see for our last recipe that we had just put on our grill, we put our St. Louis ribs on the top rack. We are going to be putting these ribs particularly on the lower rack because I'm going to be looking for more of a roast on the ribs because you're getting more heat from the heat plate below. And so we're going to be rotating and somewhat slow roasting these versus an offset smoke. All right, so for now, we're gonna let our ribs roll. We're just gonna be continuing to watch the ribs on the lower rack. We're gonna be flipping them every 15 to 20 minutes, looking for color. We're gonna go about 2 hours total for the St. Louis ribs. We're gonna show you exactly what we're looking for as we go. The ribs down here on the bottom, I've been flipping them about every 15 to 20 minutes. As you can see, they have more of a roasted looking color on them. This is right exactly how I envision this. Now it's time to move into the braise process. Take each side off. We had some leftover baby back ribs, so I cooked a few extra sides. And what we're gonna be doing with these ribs is that we're just gonna be cutting the sections. And right before we serve, we're gonna tempura and deep fry them. So the dynamic behind this is that you have an American smoked baby back rib, and then you're gonna tempura it and add an Asian flair to it. Really cool concept. The people that I've made this for, it was really well received, and I encourage you to do the same. Gonna glove up. Make sure you pick up a box of these durable nitrile gloves from pitboss.com. They also have a good gripping texture for gripping things. That way when your hands get greasy, it's a little bit easier to grip what you're trying to handle. So again, just like how we did with our St. Louis ribs, place these in the pan. With our buffalo style ribs, I'm gonna avoid using the sugar because we're staying more on a savory side of things. Again, it's totally up to you if you'd like to do that, but I'm just gonna top these with the soft butter that we did, just like how we did with our St. Louis, and a little bit more rub. Then we're gonna add our chicken broth, seal with plastic and aluminum foil. And we're gonna go back on the grill. Our braise process should be somewhere around an hour to an hour and a half. If you like your ribs to be braised a little bit softer, you can do 2 hours. but you should not have to braise any longer than that. Nice and coated. Old burger rub. Let's add a little bit more to the top. One quart unseasoned chicken broth again. All right. Plastic wrap 2 to 3 times. Heavy duty pit boss aluminum foil. We'll go 2 layers. Now we're ready to go right back on the smoker with our St. Louis ribs. Here we go. Now that our grill's fully loaded, once again, we're gonna turn our grill up to 300 degrees. This is gonna speed up our cooking process. We're no longer looking to smoking, so we're gonna come out of the smoking range more into the braising cooking temperatures. All right, we'll check back in about an hour and a half and we'll show you exactly where we're at. As we saw in the very beginning in today's episode, I removed the pan of ribs and allowed them to cool. Reason for this is that, you know, every once in a while you do have some leftover barbecue from a day before. Ribs might be one of them. You might laugh at me like, who has leftover ribs? But moving forward, we had some leftover baby back ribs, so I cooked a few extra sides. And what we're gonna be doing with these ribs is that we're just gonna be cutting the sections. And right before we serve, we're gonna tempura and deep fry them. So the dynamic behind this is that you have an American smoked baby back rib, and then you're gonna tempura it and add an Asian flair to it. Really cool concept. The people that I've made this for, it was really well received, and I encourage you to do the same. So as you can see from the braising process, it does have a little bit of excess fat. So what we're gonna do is that we're just gonna clean off the fat, and then we're just gonna cut our sections as we'd like them. So doesn't have to be perfect. You can cut them in single or double bone sections, whatever you'd like to do. Really fun finger food, and who doesn't like something that's been deep fried, especially deep fried barbecue. So we're just gonna cut those in sections, put them in a pan, hold them off till we're ready to fry them. All right guys, now that our ribs are glazing up, we're gonna move into tempura frying our baby back ribs. Tempura deep frying, if it's something that you never did before, I can give you a little bit of insight on the tempura flour. Lots of different brands out there. Lots of different instructions as far as what to look for. I just kind of tend to look for my own consistency depending on the brand. I use the Krusty's brand tempura flour mix. I used about 2 cups of flour to about 1.5 cups ice water. Ice water is a very important thing to understand when it comes to tempura flour because of the cornstarch that's in it. So the consistency that you're going to be looking for is going to be maybe slightly thinner than a pancake batter. So normally I always mix it with a spoon, not a whisk. And then you would want to run your finger through your spoon, and you don't want it to run. And so when you go to dip your rib before you put it in the deep fryer, you have your cut ribs. We're just going to kind of coat that with the tempura batter. And you're going to let any excess drip off like so. You can bounce it on the side of the bowl. That's totally doable. But essentially what you want it to do is that you want it to be like this, slightly dripping. And then you would lift up like so and lay it in your hot fat. You want this to be thin. If it's going to be any thicker than this, it's going to resemble a breading and it's going to be soft. And so it's not going to be crunchy like what you're used to with a tempura batter. But this is exactly what you're looking for before you go into the deep fryer. So without further ado, we're going to move right over to our deep fryer and we're going to start frying these bad daddies up. All right, fresh out of the deep fryer on our tempura ribs, we're gonna go ahead and move forward on plating these. Right before we pull our ribs off the grill, carve and plate those as well. So as you can see, are nice and thinly crisp, nice and moist on the inside. We're gonna go ahead and plate these and top them with our favorite flavored Korean barbecue sauce. We're gonna do this in layers. Don't be stingy with the sauce, folks. Garnish with a little bit of green onion, some toasted sesame, and some whole toasted red chili. And there you have it, folks. Crowd pleaser for one. Time to move into the next one.